consultant. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK, in the US. I currently live and reside in Canada. I've worked as a data analyst with one of the largest energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa. I've worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC, owned by the Bankers Committee, the Central Bank of Nigeria. And I've worked across 5 different sectors, from energy to sports to educational technology to automobile and so on and so forth. And I'll be sharing how I was able to make the transition across the different sectors. How did I maintain the same skills? How did I learn the domain knowledge? How did I gain the work experience to move from financial services to energy? All right. So just like so many of you on the call, my first degree was not in technology. My first degree was not in computer science. I studied industrial chemistry. Okay, so if you studied psychology, you studied mathematics, Yoruba, whatever the case is, you can also make the transition. And I would lead my session by showing you case studies, practical real life scenarios of people who have made that same transition. All right. Now, 4 things you'd get out of our session today. Number one, how to choose the right career path. So many immigration changes. For those in the UK, for example, the Home Office have made changes to the white paper came into effect on the 22nd, about 4 days ago. So many changes to immigration, same in Canada, across the US as well. How do you remain competitive and how do you choose the best career path? I'll show you how to do that. Again, how do you learn the skills to land these high demand jobs? Learning the skills is totally different from knowing the skills to learn. So I'll show you the skills you need to learn and also how to learn those skills, because how you learn matters a whole lot. It determines how well you can do the job or not. And of course, we'll also look at how you can gain experience to show employers that you're the best person for that job. Now, the reason why this is very key, I've interacted with so many people, and the problem they have is they have all the skills. They've done Udemy, they've done Coursera, they've done this and that, but they don't have any way to show that they have experience. And employers really don't care about your credentials. They care about your competence, your skills, and your experience. Okay, so if you have the skills and you don't have the experience, as an employer, I'm not going to hire somebody who I'm not sure if the person can do the job because they haven't done it before anywhere else. So how do you gain experience? And it's a chicken and an egg situation. Employers want experience before they hire you. And you cannot get that experience until you land a job. So how do you gain experience before you even land that job so you can position yourself as the best person for that job? And finally, I'll show you how to position yourself in terms of showing the world how good you are so they start to take notice. All right. So I would like to know where you're joining from before we get started. Okay. So I'm currently resided in Alberta in Canada. I would like to know where you're joining from as well. So just type into the chat if you're joining from London, joining from Glasgow, joining from Illinois in the US, joining from Lagos in Nigeria, Accra, Ghana, type that into the chat. Faith, joining from the UK, Dara from Germany, fantastic. Birmingham, Enugu, Ghana, Bristol, Texas, brilliant, fantastic. London, the UK, Abuja, Kalahari Desert. I'd like to know that person, Jagaban. The name is synonymous with the Kalahari Desert. Anyways, thanks for joining. Bedford. Bedford is a beautiful city. I've been to Bedford before. Bedford is absolutely beautiful, Duncan. Okay, now let's get started. In choosing the right career path, because this is where it all starts from. Imagine you want to land a job. Back in your home country, you worked in the bank. You worked as a customer service professional, but now you've moved to Canada, you've moved to the US, you've moved to the UK. How do you stay competitive? How do you compete for the best jobs available? How you select the career path matters a whole lot. All right. And for us at Analytics, the way we go about this is very simple. First things first is we do a job board analysis. So we scrape data from the major job boards across the major economies, from the US to the UK, Canada, across Europe. We look at the top job boards from Indeed to Glassdoor, CV Library, Monster, Built-in, Workopolis, ZipRecruiter, and so on and so forth. We analyze these jobs. We scrape the jobs, analyze them to identify the high demand jobs. High demand. But we also know that because a job is high in demand does not necessarily mean it is easy to transition into. For example, blockchain engineering is fantastic, high in demand. However, for you to land a job in blockchain engineering, it will probably take you another 2 years or 2.5 years or thereabouts to learn the skills to compete to land a job in blockchain engineering. So we analyzed the jobs. We saw the jobs that were high in demand, and then we filtered those jobs to also look at the jobs that are easy to transition into. You can learn the skills, hone those skills, work on projects, showcase your experience, and land a job. All right. And of course, we looked at another filter which focused on high salaries. But because it's high in demand, necessarily does not mean the salaries should not be fantastic. So we looked at these three criteria: high in demand, easy to transition into, and high and rewarding salaries. And we looked at that. So that was on the one hand. We did the analysis and we kept that somewhere. But we also know how important it is. Before I moved to the UK, I worked as a management information systems analyst with Sahara Power Group, an energy conglomerate in sub-Saharan Africa. When I moved to the UK, that was in the energy sector. When I moved to the UK, I worked in automobile, an entirely new sector. I'd never done automobile before. I had never worked in automobile, but I got a job as a customer intelligence analyst. All right. So how do you make that switch and stay competitive to land jobs that transcend borders, irrespective of where you are? And that's where we also had to do a global analysis. All right. So yes, we've seen the jobs that are high in demand across the major economies, but let's also see, is there any other reputable organization that has done a similar analysis, come up with a report to show the global view of where work would be in the next 5 to 10 years? And we looked at the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports. Now, the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report, I'm going to show you what that report looks like. It shows you the career path that are high in demand, the career path that would grow in demand in the next 5 to 10 years, and the career path that will decline in demand. So for anybody transitioning, it only makes sense that you want to look at this report. And the latest one was released in January this year, 2025. And it's released every 2 years. So if you want to transition, you want to land a job, and you're wondering why it's difficult for you, you are probably in a career path or trying to move into a career path that is not in demand or that would not grow in demand. Okay. And I'm going to show you the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report very quickly, so you have a good idea of what the report looks like. Okay. And why it's important for you when you are making that transition. Right. So again, I have the links to all the reports I'll be sharing, all the articles. Make sure you fill the attendance form. My colleagues would share this in the chat. Fill the attendance form and you will get all the slides, the recording, and everything I'll be sharing with you today. Now, when you open the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report and you get to this particular section, which is one of the most important for you, at the left-hand side, you have the jobs that would grow. And at the right-hand side, you have the jobs that will decline. Nobody wants to go to where the jobs will decline. We all want to get to where the jobs would grow so that it's easier for us to land jobs. But where are the jobs? Which jobs would grow in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, so that if I transition today, I still stay relevant, irrespective of where I find myself. All right. And number one on that list is data engineering. Database and network professionals. What this simply means is showing you professionals who ensures that data is made available. So wherever data is generated, they ensure that data is available for anyone who needs to use that data. So if you're in data engineering today, you're in a career path that is high in demand and a career path that will keep on growing in demand. And of course, number two on that list is the data analytics and the data science career path. So if you're in AI, machine learning, the data analyst, the data scientist career path, you're in a career path that is not just high in demand today, but would grow in demand in the next 5 to 10 years. You have the business analyst listed here as the digital transformation specialist and the process automation specialist. The business analyst ensures that processes in organizations are efficient and optimized. And for that to happen, you need to deploy applications, software that would ensure those processes are automated. So a business analyst is a process automation specialist. You have cybersecurity. Okay, you'd see career path like the security management specialist. You'd see the information security analyst. You'd get to see the database and the network professionals as well. So if you're in cybersecurity today, you're in a career path that is not just high in demand, but a career path that will keep on growing in demand. Of course, you have the HR analyst. You have the data analyst and the data scientist again, listed as the business intelligence analyst, the sales and marketing professionals, the supply chain logistics specialist, like a supply chain analyst, a logistic analyst, a demand planner, and so on and so forth. And of course, the management and organization analyst, all listed and categorized under the data analytics and the data science career path. Okay. And of course, you also have the data engineers. Okay. You have the HR analyst. So we did this and we knew clearly where the world of work was going based on what the World Economic Forum reports clearly indicated. So it became clear to us that the analysis we had carried out and identified the high in-demand careers, we had also seen another reputable organization like the World Economic Forum that had listed the future of jobs. So if you want to transition, you know the career path to focus on. Then we did not stop there. We looked at the regional analysis. We looked at regions across the UK, the US, and in Canada. And in the UK, we looked at the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa. Then in the US, we looked at the job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rates. And in Canada, we looked at the provincial nominee programs across multiple provinces. And I'm going to click on these links, we'll see what they look like. So you have a good idea that when selecting a career path, you must do that using a methodical and a research-based approach. So when you make that transition, you are doing that knowing your career path would keep on improving in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I'm going to show you all these links. I'm just going to make one very quick change. Just give me 1 second. All right. If you can still hear me loud and audible, just type in a warning to the chat. I just made a quick switch to ensure we have a seamless session going forward. Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Brilliant, Dara. Thanks for that, Barbara Martin. Okay. So in the UK, for example, about 4 days ago, we had a major implementation of the white paper showing career paths that are eligible for the skilled worker visa. Okay. So the easiest way to know if a career is high in demand, then you must find that career path on this list. If it's not here, then it is not high in demand. So click on that link, you'd see the skilled worker visa eligible occupations and codes updated on the 22nd of July, 4 days ago. All right. And I'm going to highlight a couple of roles that I've shown you from the World Economic Forum and so on. And we saw from the analysis we had carried out. Now, let's look at a few job roles. And I'm going to scroll all the way down to 2133. Okay, 2133. Or let's start from here. 2131. You have the IT project managers. The IT project managers are the agile project managers, the project managers that focus on building, managing products within the technology ecosystem. All right. 2133, you have the IT business analysts. Okay, you'd see the business analysts, the business architects, the data engineers, the data architects, and these were the same roles we saw on the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports, right? We go to the business analyst, for example, 2133, we've seen the business analyst, 2431. You also have the business analyst career path listed again. Okay, 2431. Let's go there very quickly. And I have all this on my slide, so I'll share them with you at the end of today's session. Make sure you fill the attendance so you get every single material from today's session. Now, one thing I also want you to focus on is the category of these jobs. They are higher skilled. And what does this mean for somebody who wants to get sponsorship? It simply means that these are occupations classified at least at the regulated qualifications framework, the RQF level 6. So the changes were made it's been in talks over the past couple of months, but the UK is simply saying that for you to get sponsorship today, you must get a career that is higher skilled, RQF level 6 or above. And simply putting that into summary, they're simply telling you that RQF level 6 or any career path that is higher skilled meets the core requirements for the skilled worker visa. So if you get a job in a company if you get an offer from a company that has a license to sponsor, they give you a certificate of sponsorship that clearly carries this particular job code, your responsibilities, and so on and so forth. Okay. And that's what you take to apply for your skilled worker visa. You'll see the cybersecurity professional role as well. Yeah, cybersecurity and so on. Same with the US. The job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rates. And these are job titles where employers are willing to petition for a visa for you to stay, work in the US or come into the US to take up a role. Okay. And if you click on this link, it also shows you the career paths that are high in demand. All right. You'd also get to see the data engineering roles, the data scientists, the project managers, the business analysts, all the roles we've seen so far, same in the US, same in the UK, and so on. You'd see, the data analyst roles, the programmer analysts, and so on and so forth. And even in Canada as well, the provincial nominee programs, you want to get PR, you want to get into a career path that would give you an accelerated pathway to permanent residency. So you're looking for provincial nominee programs where automatically you get 600 points. And the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, for example, if we click on the list to see the priority streams, there is a tech pathway, accelerated tech pathway. Okay. And you have a list of career paths that qualifies for this particular nomination. Okay. And of course, if you look at them as well, you'd see the HR managers, the HR professionals. So a HR analyst can easily fit into this category, right? You have the data scientists, the cybersecurity specialists, the business systems analysts. These are the business analysts. You have the database analysts, database administrators. These are the data analyst roles, all right, and so on and so forth. So we looked at the provincial nominee programs. We looked at the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa in the UK. We looked at the roles that have the highest H-1B acceptance rates. And this shows you where the jobs are. And we came up with 8 career paths that if you find yourself in any of these 8 career paths, you will easily land a job. It doesn't matter where you are. Okay, you move from Nigeria, you move to Canada, you move from Ghana, you move to the UK. You will be competitive in any of these career paths: the business analyst, the data analyst, the data scientist, the agile project manager, the data engineer, the cybersecurity analyst, the HR analyst, and last but not the least, the financial analyst. Now, the beauty about this is you don't need to have prior experience to land a job. And I'll share case studies and examples of people just like you, nurses, care workers, bankers, customer service professionals, accountants, who now find themselves in one of these 8 career paths simply because they joined a session like this. They had a targeted approach on the type of jobs they want to get. They jumped in, they did all the things they needed to do, and eventually they landed jobs. So the first thing I want you to do today, the first exercise in today's session, and our session today will take about 2 hours, practical, hands-on, and you would take amazing, amazing takeaways from our session today. My first task is I want you to type into the chat, out of these 8 career paths, which one are you interested in? Just type into the chat. Out of the 8, which one are you interested in? And all you need to do is to select one. You can select 2. Maybe you have interest of joining more than one. So you have data analyst, the business analyst. It's fine. By the end of today's session, you'd know the one you'd eventually get to select. Dara says data analyst. Charity, cybersecurity. Fantastic. Bless says data scientist. IT project manager. Brilliant. Cybersecurity, financial analyst, agile project manager, data engineer, absolutely phenomenal. Now, that's the very first thing you need to do when transitioning. Don't get into a career path because a friend is also doing the same. Okay? You want to ensure that you select one, stick to it, double down, and that's where you get the best results. And I'm going to, double down on every single step on how to get this done practically, no fluff. Okay? So we did all of this and we saw these 8 career paths that if you want to land a job fast, get into one of them. Okay. Now, we found an approach, designed an approach to ensure that the way you learn, the way you package yourself, and the way you apply to land a job is systematic, and it leads to you getting the desired outcome at the end of the day. So our summary of today's session would center around learning. And every single success story I'll share with you today all fall within these 3 frameworks. So the first step is to always learn and focus on one. The mistakes I've seen people make over time is they start with data analytics, but their friends got a job in cybersecurity. So they move and get into cybersecurity. All right. And then they hear that, oh, business analysis is the in thing. Everybody's getting jobs in business analysis. Then they dive into business analysis. If you do that, this is the way you'd climb the mountain. You keep on zigzagging, wasting time compared to somebody who has a direct, focused approach, starting with one career path, doubling down on that, gaining all the skills. This person will land a job a lot faster than you. And that's what focus is all about. So there are 8 key career paths that has been established from the analysis we carried out, from the future of jobs by the World Economic Forum, and also the regional analysis from the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa, the H-1B, the job roles with the highest rates of acceptance, and also the accelerated pathway to PR across multiple provinces, the career path with focus that if you get a job, you can easily apply for your PR. You get provincial nomination, 600 points, and eventually, you have a pathway to PR. So all the 8 career paths are fantastic and high in demand. What you now need to do is select one. Okay, which you've all done that already. That was the exercise we did a few minutes ago. So once you've learned, you learn the skill, and I'll show you how to learn the skill, because how you learn also determines if you are going to land a job or not. And a lot of people have made mistakes. I made mistakes about 12 years ago when I was also transitioning. You don't want to make the mistakes I made. All right. So I'll show you how to learn. If you want to become a data analyst, a data scientist, a data engineer, business analyst, cybersecurity professional, and so on and so forth, how do you learn? Okay. The next step is to package. And packaging yourself is simply presenting and positioning yourself as the best candidate for the job. So learning the skill is not enough. A lot of people stop here at number one. They don't have the right CV. They don't have the right LinkedIn profile. They don't have a portfolio. Okay. They don't have a mentor to help them shorten their transition journey. All right. Again, how do you prepare for interviews? If you have an interview tomorrow, what do you do? Are you the type that would go on YouTube and try to watch videos? Or are you the type that have access to professionals that can help you prepare for that interview? When you get a job, imagine you are currently a care worker or a support worker. Now you joined a data analytics program and you got a job as a data analyst, or you got an offer as a data analyst. Now, the organization will request for a reference from you. Would you get the reference from where you worked as a support worker or as a care worker, or probably maybe you work in the warehouse, for example? It's a mismatch getting a data analyst related reference from a support worker role. So how do you get reference from a reputable organization that can vouch for the skills you have in that your new career path that you want to transition into? So that's also very key and also very important. So how you present and position yourself determines if you land a job. Your skills alone would not get you there. Skills is just 50%. All right. And finally, apply. A lot of people think they apply to jobs, but you don't even know the number of jobs you need to apply to. You don't know that application, when you see a job ad, you put in your CV, you apply, fill in the form, or you send your CV, accounts for just 40% of landing a job. So if that's all you're doing, you are limiting yourself to just 40% of opportunities. The opportunities in other areas, from networking to cold emails to putting yourself in situations and environments that will get you noticed. Okay. And I'll talk about them today before we wrap up. All right. So you must not just apply to jobs, but you must apply and apply with precision. Okay. How many jobs do I need to apply to? On the average, irrespective of where you are, it takes about 267 job applications, quality job applications, to land a job. So knowing the work you have ahead of you, it's easier for you to break this down into months, break it down into days, into weeks, and you know the number of jobs you need to churn out. But guess what? A lot of people will take one CV and apply to multiple jobs and expect to get results. You're always going to get unfortunately, unfortunately, unfortunately. So what you need to do is what? Tailor every application. So we show you how to tailor your CV. For every application, every job application, you have a CV for that application. So you give yourself a chance of landing an interview. And when you get into the room, into an interview, you have at least 50% chance of landing that job, depending on how well you perform. But you must get into the room. And that's where tailoring your application comes in. So never reuse a CV to apply to multiple jobs. Again, on the average, we always advise 8 to 10 applications per day, every single day. Tailored applications, not just easy apply on LinkedIn or taking one CV, applying to tons and tons of jobs. And finally, the hidden job markets and the paid job boards. Imagine you want to land a job. You go on LinkedIn to search for jobs. You're applying and competing with millions of other people applying to those same jobs. If you're applying on CV Library, you are competing with millions of other people applying to those same jobs. So how do you get job boards that are paid and few people would pay to get access to unique jobs available, exclusive jobs? So what we do at Analytics is we pay to these job boards and we scrape the jobs every single week from the job board and we send them to you. All right. So that gives you access to jobs that every other person has no access to. And this increases your chances of landing the job. So from how you learn the skill to how you present yourself and position yourself for the job to how you apply to jobs determines if you land the job or not. Okay, so you must follow this process of the learn, the package, and the apply, and that's what gets you the job. And like I said, I'm going to break this down in subsequent slides, step by step. How do you learn the skill? What's the best way? And I'll drive my session by using real life examples of people that have done this, they've applied this, and today they've gotten amazing outcomes for themselves. So how do you learn the right way? Okay, remember I mentioned earlier, you can't just focus on learning the right skills. You must also focus on learning the skills the right way. Okay, so what's the best way to learn? Let's take, for example, Dara wants to become a cybersecurity professional, or um, let me see, Nalova wants to become a data scientist. Freda wants to become a project manager. What's the best way to learn the skill? You are doing something different today, but you want to get into a different career path. How must you learn that skill to ensure you are able to not just get interviews and land a job, but you know how to do the job? You must always learn in a project-based environment. Learn in a project-based environment. And I'm going to walk you through what this means. What does a project-based environment mean? Okay, so Adeza, you said I should learn in a project-based environment. What does this mean? And how do I learn in a project-based environment? Now, if you are the type, and I was there myself, 12, 11 years ago, I was going on Udemy, going on YouTube, Coursera, and all of that. But that's the worst place for you to start as a beginner. As a beginner, it's very difficult because it is 100% self-paced, learning environment. And when you do that, you find it difficult when you're stuck. So when you're stuck with a problem, and I've been there myself, I was stuck with a problem for over 2 weeks. And all I needed to do to solve that problem was to change one single inverted comma to two. So instead of having one inverted comma, which I had entered in my SQL, my SQL query, I didn't know I was meant to enter two, and I had only one, and I was getting errors, and I was stuck for over 2 weeks. So when you learn in a 100% self-paced environment, you find yourself in a situation where you get stuck. You don't have the opportunity to interact with professionals and solve real world problems. A project-based environment helps you do that. Okay, now let's see the stories of these two amazing gentlemen, and I'll use their cases to explain the project-based environment to you. This is Mawutin. I'll take you to their LinkedIn profiles as well. Okay, and this is where I need you to pay rapt attention. All right, so we're getting practical to real life scenarios. I started with Coursera. Yeah, well, it's not really bad for you to start with that. It's just more difficult. And I'll show you the reason why it's more difficult using this scenario to explain. Okay, this is Mawutin. His name is Mawutin. Mawutin had a BSc in chemistry and experience in operations management. He was an operations manager. He wanted to become a data analyst. He lives in the UK, also wanted to get sponsorship. He joined our data analytics program. And today, Mawutin moved from somebody with no experience in healthcare. He had never worked in healthcare, knew nothing about the health sector. But guess what? Today, he is a pathology data analyst with the NHS in the UK on full visa sponsorship. Pathology data analyst. With Mawutin, it was the first time I saw this job title, pathology data analyst. Very interesting. Okay, now that's Mawutin, and I'll come back to Mawutin. This is Pavel. Pavel worked as a teacher in Cameroon, worked in the education sector, worked as a teacher in high school before he moved to the US. Pavel also joined the data analytics program sometime last year. And today, Pavel moved from the education sector, somebody who had no experience in healthcare, had never worked in the health sector, but he got a job as a healthcare data and reporting analyst with the Arizona Community Physicians in Tucson, Arizona, in the US. What was common between the both of them? Of course, They both work in the health sector, even though they had zero experience in the health sector. And the project-based experience, the project-based learning was what helped them get there. And how did they get there using the project-based learning? Now, for us at Tenalytics, what we do is, let's take any of the career path, which is data analytics that we are looking at the moment. When you get into class, you work on projects that are real world based, projects that I worked on back in the days as a data analyst. We take those projects, we convert them into case studies, change the name of the companies, change the data so you can't trace any data to any company because of data privacy, and you get to work on those same projects. So you're working on real world projects. Okay, and I'll show you what this means in a real life class. So there are two ways you learn with us at Tenalytics. The first way is using the LMS, the learning management system. So whenever you join, you have access to the self-paced. For anybody doing a Coursera, you know what self-paced is. You have your videos, you have your modules, you watch those videos, you complete tasks and assignments and all of that, okay? So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So when you get to the website, everybody has a dashboard, all right? And in this dashboard, say I registered for the data analytics program. All I need to do is click on continue learning, and it takes me to all the videos, all the projects, all the case studies that I need to watch right here. At least two. Sorry about that. Right here in my LMS, the learning management, okay? Introduction to data analytics, how to install my tools and technologies and everything. I can come to Excel for analytics and watch any video. Okay, Excel operations. I can watch this at my own convenience, any day, anytime. All right. This is self-paced. But if you do this 100% of the time, you would struggle a whole lot. All right. And as you work on all these projects, one after the other, you also have the opportunity to work on case studies. Okay, real world case studies. So you see case studies attached to every single module. So here you can log in on a Monday, on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday, morning, afternoon, anytime, anywhere, watch your videos and practice. Then you have the live class. The live class is where you jump into a classroom with a professional, like myself, for example, working on projects with you. We solve problems together. You have the opportunity to stop me and say, hey, I tried this, I used the inverted comma, but I got an error. What am I doing wrong? Then your facilitator can tell you, share your screen, let me see what you have, and tell you immediately in real time that rather than one inverted comma, you need to have two. So you solve a problem that would have taken you 2 weeks, but you solve it in 1 minute because you have access to a real time facilitator, okay? And I'm going to show you how Mawutin and Pavel were able to move from Mawutin operations manager, Pavel from a teacher to working in healthcare. Okay, so let's get to the Excel live class. So the live class or the live classes are case study based. You solve problems. You don't learn Excel by watching videos. You learn Excel by using Excel to solve real problems. So you'd see the case studies, and the case study, this particular case study, is for a hospital, St. Luke's Hospital. St. Luke's Hospital has a problem. Okay, so you start with a case study, you understand the industry, the sector, you look at the problem statement. And the problem with St. Luke is they have operational inefficiencies. Patients have to wait very long in the ER, long ER wait times. And that's simply because we cannot easily identify who needs to see the doctor first, who needs to wait a little bit longer, and so on. Data is also disjointed. So how do we solve this problem using Excel? Okay, so you have the aim of the project, every single thing that needs to be done to solve this problem for St. Luke's Hospital. You solve that problem using Microsoft Excel. And this is the way you learn. So at the end of the day, you are going to build something that looks like this, which is the solution giving your recommendation to St. Luke's and telling them that this is what you have to do to solve the problem. And you don't solve this alone. You solve this in a live class, and I'll show you what the live class looks like. So every live class is recorded. You have the class recording. You can come back anytime, watch the recording at your convenience. Okay. So this is you with your facilitator in class. You are solving the problems together. You have the opportunity to stop and say, hey, you tried this. What does it mean? I'm getting an error. Why are we doing what we are doing? So you have the opportunity to interact with a real-time facilitator, a real-time professional that has been and is currently on that role that you're trying to get. So you're working with real professionals that are on the job, and they can show you exactly what you need to do to also get that job. All right. So that's what a typical live class looks like. So if the focus for you is only on the self-paced, you won't have the opportunity to work in a project-based environment. And this is what project-based learning is. Every single class, you have a project, you are working for a company, solving a problem for a company. And at the end of the day, you add that project to your portfolio. I'll come back to portfolio to show you the importance of a portfolio. So every single project you complete, you will add the project to a portfolio. Your portfolio is your warehouse of evidence that you can do the job. And that was how Mawutin and Pavel moved from different sectors entirely to getting jobs in healthcare. And we're going to go through that profile very quickly, and then we'll come back to talk about even more amazing stuff. Okay. So let's go to LinkedIn very quickly. Let's go to Mawutin first of all. Mawutin. So Mawutin started this job about, I think, a year and a half ago or about 2 years ago. So this is Mawutin Sunday, data analyst. I filled Mawutin's reference. If I have time, I'll show you what the reference looks like. The actual job title is a pathology data analyst. And before he got this job, he was a support worker in the UK, but then he joined our data analytics program as part of his work experience. This is very important. I'll highlight and talk a little bit more about this. Having this on your LinkedIn, having it on your CV, puts you ahead of the pack, ahead of the competition immediately, because you have evidence that you've done the job. Okay, so Mawutin has had this. He got a job. He started the job in November, but I think he got the job sometime around September, and then he started in November on full visa sponsorship. Okay, and that's Mawutin right there. And of course, you also have Pavel. Pavel, a teacher from Cameroon, moving to the US. Today, he works with the Arizona Community Physicians in health as a healthcare data and reporting analyst. And again, just like Mawutin, you'd see his experience with Tenalytics. All right. So learning in a project-based environment does two things for you. It ensures you know how to do the job on day one when you get that job. And it also gives you that advantage when you get into an interview, like Pavel did with the Arizona Community Physicians, and he was asked questions around healthcare. He could speak to projects he completed in class, the St. Luke's project. He could talk about that project, and he could tell them that I've done this before, and he could answer questions. Same with Mawutin, and that gave them the opportunities to land jobs in these areas. So remember, project-based learning is the best way for you to learn. Learn that tool, that technology as a business analyst. Learn Jira, learn Trello, learn Draw.io, and all those different tools, requirement gathering, requirement fundamentals, using different sectors, different industries, or using real-world projects. That's the best way for you to learn. If you're learning Excel, watching videos is not good enough. You must be solving problems, okay? And that's what you do in a typical class, all right? So you have your self-paced. I showed you what the self-paced LMS looks like, properly structured. Every single module has an exercise, an assessment, a case study, and you also have the opportunity to join a live class. All right, interact with a real professional and ask the questions you have. And that's the best way for you to learn. So I want you to write this somewhere. If I want to learn to become a project manager, a cybersecurity professional, I must be learning in a project-based environment. So I know how to do the job, and I also have the advantage of answering questions during interviews. All right, because I've done it before. Now, every project you complete is never wasted. It goes to your portfolio. And I'm going to talk about the portfolio in subsequent slides. So that's the best way you want to learn. And I'm going to drive my point home using Ramat as a key example. Ramat was a customer service professional in the UK. She worked with British Gas as a customer service professional. When I lived in the UK, British Gas was my utility provider for electricity. Ramat worked with that company, but she knew she was never going to get sponsorship or get a job, the type of career she wanted in customer service. So what did she do? She joined our business analysis program, and today Ramat works with the NHS as a business architect, also on full visa sponsorship. So she followed the package, tailored her CV, did all the things. We prepped her for her interviews. She built a portfolio, applied to jobs, and she landed a job in October 2023 as a business architect with the NHS. And she got this job 2 months before she completed the program. But I want you to listen to Ramat yourself. Okay. And just like we've done for the other professionals, I'd quickly go to Ramat's profile. Okay. Ramat, fantastic professional. This was Ramat. Ramat was in a session like you just a few, 1.5 years ago, thereabouts. And today, she currently works as a business architect with the NHS. She worked as a customer service rep with British Gas before that. But then again, you'd see British business analysis consultant with Tenalytics. Remember, I'm going to talk about the importance of having this on your CV and on your LinkedIn. Okay. So, but let's listen to Ramat. Let's listen to her story. The links are here. All the links. We had a full interview with Ramat. I'm not going to play the full interview because it's quite long. I'll play just about 3.5 to 4 minutes. And you would learn amazing, amazing insights from how Ramat was able to make the transition and why it is important for you to work on projects in a project-based environment. Okay. So if you click on that link, it takes you to the video where you can watch Ramat, listen to Ramat. If you haven't filled the attendance form, this is the best time for you to do that. So you have access to all the materials, all the links, all the articles I'll be sharing today. Okay. So let's listen and enjoy what Ramat has to say. I'll play this for just 3.5 to 4 minutes. All right. So enjoy.
Come as a student?
No, I came in as a dependent to my husband. He was a student, so I was dependent at the time.
How was your journey? How did it start? I hear that coming in as a dependent is not that easy. Having to find a job. What kind of jobs did you even start with?
Well, to be fair, it was quite good for me because I didn't have to do care, but I know so many people that had to do care, warehouse, and all of that. But I started as a customer service rep for British Gas. So British Gas is like an energy providing company that's based in the UK. So suppliers of energies and gas. So I was working with them as their customer service rep, answering calls, queries, about the product and services they offer. So that was what I did for about a year when I got here until my breakthrough with analytics.
I'm very interested in that breakthrough. Tell me about that breakthrough. How did it start? How did you hear of them? And what gave you the conviction to try them out? What is your experience like?
Okay, let me start from how I heard about them. So I was talking to my cousin. My cousin is in the UK as well. She did data analytics with analytics. So I was telling her because I was on mat leave at the time and I didn't just want my mat leave to just go like that, being that I wasn't even really interested in the customer service role. I wanted to be more. So I talked to her and said I was looking at doing something like into around business analytics. That does she know anybody any edu company just like analytics that I can enroll with and all of that. And she said, oh, that's really good because she just finished a data analytics course with analytics and all of that, that I would really enjoy them. She mentioned Adiza. She mentioned a few people from Analytics that really helped her during her own time. I was like, is it really good? She was like, it's really, really good. And then she said there used to be a master class that I can attend that and just hear from them first before I fully enroll with them and all of that. I'm like, okay, yeah. That's fine. She sent me the link to the master class, and then that was it for me. Like, I didn't even have to think twice. Immediately I did the master class, I enrolled immediately because I knew this was what I wanted. They were just spilling it. Adiza was the one, I remember. It was the one that held the master class with one other person, and it was telling us all the benefits, all the things that we will learn in the space of about 3 months, how it will be practical enough to carry that knowledge into our job. Like when we eventually land the job, that's enough experience. And to be honest, it was practical enough because that was all that helped me. So that was how I began my journey with analytics. I enrolled with them and started around it was around April, if I can remember correctly, April 2023.
Okay, when did you open the link?
That was when I started with analytics. And it was supposed to be 3 months, 3 months, 1 month for the theoretical aspect, and then I think 2 months for the practical. You have like a group where you practicalize all the things that you've been taught. They give you a project, they assign a project to your group, and then you partake, you do all the things that you would actually do on the job, you do it with them. So that took about 2 months or so. But I tell you for a fact, I started immediately after my first month with them. I already knew what I wanted. So I started enrolling for jobs and all of that. I'd not even finished my practicals before I got a job as a business analyst in one of the trusts in NHS. And that's where I still work currently. So it was that good. It was that good. All the things they taught us, all the practicals that I started to learn like bit by bit, because I already mentioned that I haven't even finished. So that was what I put into the CV, into my supporting statements. And the good thing, what even crowned it up for me was when I got the interview, I told Adiza about it, and then there was a proper prep, like interview prep that I did that just prepped me comprehensively for the job. It was one of the facilitators in charge then that just prepped me, and then that was it. I got in there and smashed it, and I got the job.
Okay, so I'm going to stop there because of time. All right. But again, when you listen to Ramat's story, she mentioned some things that were very instructive. She was in customer service. She wanted more. She joined the business analysis program. She worked on projects individually, worked on projects in a group. She put all those projects in her CV, which is the portfolio. I'll talk about that, in a few minutes. She did all of that. She had an interview, and she wasn't the type that would go to YouTube and try to watch videos to prepare, or go to ChatGPT to try to prepare for the interview. She had a professional who had been on that role. I also worked with Ramat. I prepared Ramat for her interview. And today, Ramat also comes to coach other people within the program at the moment. So if you want to land a job in the NHS, this was how I was able to do it. This is how you can also do it, and so on. And that was how she landed the job with the Midlands Partnership University NHS Trust as a business architect. Okay, so that's Ramat's story. Absolutely phenomenal. All right. And as I move on through the session, I'll share more insights into the stories around the way people were able to do this. And you can also take learnings from there. So we've established one thing. How you learn is very important. Selecting the right career path, number one. Then how you learn the skills also crowns it up to ensuring you land the job. So write that somewhere. Okay. Now, when you've learned all these skills, now you, like Ramat, who is a business architect, she did the business analysis program. How was she able to showcase her experience? Because remember, the NHS would not just hire somebody who has no experience. Okay, they don't want to hire you to train you, even though they'll still train you eventually. But The default is not to hire you because they want to train you to do that job. No, you must be able to hit the ground running. Every employer would not want you to be a burden to them when you get into the role. So you must have experience to showcase that you have experience. So how do you show that? And I want to ask this question to drive home my point, okay? Now, let's imagine your birthday is coming up in 2 weeks or next week, and you want a cake for your birthday, and you're considering two bakers to get your cake from. Baker A has a certificate that shows that he's gone to the best bakery school. All right. He had a distinction from that bakery school. Baker B, on the other hand, has a bakery where you can walk into the bakery, you can see the type of cakes the Baker B has baked, the type of cakes, you can see them, see the quality, and so on and so forth. Evidence that he knows how to bake the type of cake that you want. Who would you trust to bake your cake? Baker A or Baker B? Just type into the chat. Baker A or Baker B. iPhone says B. Absolutely. Just type A or B. Okay, just to keep it simple. Okay, Omaomi typed B, Baker B as well. BB. Johnson says B not just once, but B twice. Absolutely. It's a no-brainer. Everybody would go with the second Baker. Baker B. Because Baker B has evidence that he can do the job because they've done it before. But guess what? A lot of people position themselves as Baker A. I have a certificate. I studied in this university, and so on and so forth. Okay? You position yourself as the baker that just has a paper qualification. But remember this, every employer wants to know that you have done it before and you can do it for them, except it is an entry-level role. And you pretty much don't have those type of roles available anymore. Entry level where they'll have to train you, except you're a fresh graduate, a graduate training program, or thereabouts. So remember, and you must always have this at the back of your mind, as you learn the skill, you select the career path, you learn the skill the right way, you must also have evidence that you've done this before and you can do it for them. It's only when you know how to do this employers take you seriously. And what's the best way to doing this? That's where your portfolio comes in. Okay. So remember, employers want to know that you can do the job. Do you have the experience? So show employers what they want. Give them what they want. And you will land the job. I dropped my pen. I just had to pick it up. So now, how do you show employers that you have what it takes to do the job? At Tenalytics, we call it something. We call it competence over credentials. Competence over credentials. That's what we call it. A lot of people focus on credentials, especially people from the part of the world where I come from Africa. We like the paper. We like the paper qualification. But guess what? Employers want you for your competence. Do you have the skills to do the job? And do you have the experience? That's what they want to see from you. If you can show them you have the skills, show them you have the experience, you will land that job. And what's the best way? If you've not worked as a data analyst before, what's the best way to gain experience? If you've not worked as a project manager, how do you gain experience as a project manager? If you've not worked as a financial analyst, how do you gain experience? That's where your portfolio comes in, and also your internship. I'll show you the portfolio practically and why this is very important. But for the internship, every program at Tenalytics, all the 8 I shared with you, comes with 2 months internship. And your internship is done with Amdari. Amdari is the sister company to Tenalytics, operates out of London in the UK and also Alberta in Canada. So the beautiful thing when you go to the LinkedIn profile of somebody like Ramat, what do you see? You both worked at Tenalytics. If you go to her work experience, what do you see? Business analyst consultant. The same with the gentleman I showed you earlier, Mawutin. If we go back to Mawutin, who is a pathology data analyst, You'd also see what? Data analyst consultant. This is positioning yourself for the job. This is showing that I have the experience with tenants. So when you join us, you don't join us as a trainee or as a learner. You join us as a consultant, a contractor. Okay, so you work on projects to showcase that you've done that job before. All right, and that's what your internship looks like. So for 2 months, you would work with a cross-functional team. The data analyst would work with the HR analysts. You collaborate, solve problems together, because that's what the real world of work looks like. You don't work in silos. You collaborate to solve problems. Okay, so we simulate that environment for you. And then you must have a portfolio. So you see that bakery shop of the baker who has cakes, evidence that they can do the cake that you want because they've done it before. Your own bakery would be your portfolio, evidence that you can do that job. And again, just to show you practically how that happens, as you learn in class, and I'll use Victor as an example, Victor Omoboye. Victor also joined our data science program, landed a job as a data scientist. But one of the things he did very well was having a portfolio, showcasing to employers that he was the right person for the job. And how did he do that? I'm going to show you Victor's profile, and then I'll walk you through how he got all those projects as evidence. So let's go to Victor. One of the first things you see when you go to Victor's profile is, again, you both worked at Tenalytics. You'd see a link right here that says My Portfolio. If you go to Victor's CV, you'd also see My Portfolio, a link to his portfolio. Okay. So when I click as a recruiter, as a hiring manager, I want to hire a data scientist. I come to Victor's profile. Perhaps I've looked at it. The ATS has churned out his CV. I've looked at his CV. I'm impressed. I come to his LinkedIn, click on that portfolio, and I can see Victor's proof of work, evidence that he has done the job before. So you have an introduction to who Victor is: data scientist, BI professional, his core competencies, machine learning, and so on and so on. But more importantly, you have the projects that he has pinned. This is like walking into the cake store and seeing different cakes in the bakery. I can select one of the projects, loan default prediction. Click on that, for example, and it takes me to the loan, this particular project that Victor completed. And just to summarize, you have the documentation right here, okay? The introduction, you have the problem statements, the aim of the project, the methodology, and everything. You can read about the project. And this was a project where Victor built a machine learning model that can predict that a customer would default on their loan. So customer comes, collects money from the bank or collects money from the credit union. How do we determine, apart from just using the credit score, how do we determine if this customer would pay or not, or default? Okay. And that was what Victor did, a loan default prediction. All right. But I can read about it, but better still, I can go into the different codes that Victor wrote. Come in here, click on that, and I can see the codes. How did he solve the problem? Okay. What libraries did he use in Python? Okay, how did he clean his data? I can scroll down and see how he did everything that he did. This is me walking into the bakery store and seeing the type of cake that I want. So if I want to hire a data scientist, I have no doubts that Victor has the experience because he has evidence that he's done it before. Anybody who can do this shows that they have the experience to do the job. Okay, so you must have a portfolio like this with multiple projects across multiple industries, multiple sectors. And this is what shows employers that you can do the job for them because you've done it before. All right. Now, how did Victor get all these projects into his portfolio? Again, when you walk in class with your facilitators solving problems together, you have the opportunity to work in a project-based environment. Never forget that. So the machine learning class, the first machine learning class, Victor completed this case study where everybody that joined this class also completed the case study. And the case study was for a company called Loanalytics Incorporated, a loan default prediction case study. Okay, so in class, together with the facilitator, you'd look at the background, the problem statement, the rationale for solving this project, and so on. Okay, and you solve this together in class. So if you go to the class recording, let's see what it looks like. So you have your facilitator, you can ask questions, you can stop,
yes.
you can, this is the project, you solve together, you can ask questions, and so on. Okay, and this gives you the opportunity to not just complete the project, but add it to your portfolio, just like Victor, as evidence that you can do the job. Okay, very important. And this is how you start to compile your work experience. This is how you start to bake a lot of cakes and you put them in your bakery store so that customers can see the quality of the cakes you have, the creativity of how you baked those cakes, and eventually get to buy the cakes from you. In this instance, the employer can see how good you are and they get to hire you. All right. So you have somebody like Victor. I've kept some other portfolios right here for the business analysts, for the data analysts. This is Victoria, for example. If you go to Victoria's portfolio, one of the things you'd see is Victoria solving a problem. This is Victoria data analysis portfolio, deep care hospital ER analysis. So remember, you work on different projects like Mawutin, like Pavel, who transitioned to a healthcare data role. Victoria has a project in her portfolio, just like they also did. Anybody can click here, see what the project looks like, and they have clear understanding of how good Victoria is. So this is what the dashboard looks like using Tableau. So you're not just learning how to use tools, but you're learning how to use those tools to solve problems. And here, Victoria used this to give recommendations that improved the wait time of patients. So rather than patients waiting for so long in the ER, Victoria was able to give recommendations based on our analysis. Again, this is dynamic. I can click on this, deselect. I want to see for Q1. I want to see for Q2. The moment I click on that, it is interactive and dynamic. So any employer that comes here and sees how good you are, guess what? They know you're the right person for the job. So this is how you gain experience. Write this down somewhere. Competence over credentials. It doesn't matter where you studied. It doesn't matter the certificate you have. If you don't have the experience, the competence, the skills to show employers you can do the job, you'd struggle for a long time. Okay. And that was the case of Hope. Hope had project management, Scrum Master certifications, brilliant, fantastic lady. She worked as a project manager back in Nigeria, but she moved to Ghana. I beg your pardon. She moved to Canada. Okay. Hope moved from Nigeria to Canada, but she couldn't land a job. She was getting interviews, but she was struggling to land a job. Then she came to our Agile project management program in September last year. And in just 3 months, Hope was able to land a job in December 2024 as a project analyst with Visman in Waterloo, Ontario. So the question is, what changed? And how was Hope able to do this? Very simple. We only simply showed Hope that, look, you need to de-emphasize your certifications. I have PMP, I have this. No, that's not the focus. The focus is showing these employers that you can do the job, building a portfolio to show them the work you've done before, and so on and so forth. And that was how Hope was able to land the job. And again, this is Hope's profile. And of course, I want you to listen to Hope as well. So you have a good understanding that certificates, credentials would not get me what I want. All right. Evidence, competence is what gets me the job. So this is Hope. you'd see Agile Project Manager with Tenalytics. She got this job in December 2024. She's currently 8 months into the role. Absolutely phenomenal position. All right. And that was Hope's story. But Hope talked about this a little bit in about 2-3 minutes. Okay. And I want you to listen to Hope so you have a good understanding that if I want to land a job, the focus should always be on my competence. Okay. So let's listen to Hope very quickly. You have access to all the links, remember, but make sure you fill the attendance form so you can always go back, listen, and you have a good understanding of how these professionals were able to do it and how you can also do the same. Okay. So let's listen to Hope in the next 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Hope Atogi. I am an alumni of Tenalytics. I joined the 2024 September cohort class for Agile Project Management. Prior to joining this cohort, I had a certificate in project management and I had written the PMP and I'd also written the Scrum Master certification, which I passed both, but I still needed to land a project management role in Canada. Prior to when I moved to Canada, I had an experience with managing projects and handling agile projects in Nigeria. But moving to Canada, I hadn't gathered enough experience in the project space, so I needed to break into that space. Tenalytics was recommended to me, and I tried it. I had a focus of what I wanted, and they helped me achieve that. I joined the class, it was very interactive, it was very educative. I increased what I knew prior to joining the class, and I learned new things as well. I would definitely recommend Tenalytics to anyone who is looking to break into a new field or change career path. I think Tenalytics is where you should be. You should register with them. They would help you with your post-registration, ongoing classes, getting a job, interview processes and all that. While on the project, in the class, I applied a couple of jobs and Tenalytics helped me with my interview preparation, giving me tips, organizing mock interview sessions as well, and it helped me land my first project management job in Canada, and I'm really grateful for it. Of course, it's a 6-figure job, and I appreciate the fact that they had a great impact in me landing that job. I will recommend Tenalytics to anyone who is looking to change career path, and they would help you through the process before, during, and even after you land a job. They're willing to help you answer questions, guide you through, help you settle in your new role as well. Thank you very much, Tenalytics. I really appreciate your help in my career growth, and I hope that anyone who is looking to make an impact in their careers or change career path are looking to work with Tenalytics, because they're one educational agency I would recommend to anyone. Thank you very much, Tenalytics.
So that's Hope Atogi. And Hope simply just tells you that, look, having all the certifications does nothing. It doesn't move the needle. A lot of people learn this the hard way, okay? They think because I've studied an MSc from a UK university, then it becomes easy for me to land a job. We've worked with tons and tons of people from the UK. They've done an MSc in data science, but they realize very quickly that I can't get a job with all the things I've learned because what I learned are so theoretical and they needed to come to us. We showed them how to, work on real world projects, develop an evidence-based work experience platform like a portfolio. And of course, that's what enabled them land the jobs eventually. Competence over credentials. Never forget that. All right. Now, I'm going to show you one of the most important things you have to do or you have to take away from today's session. I dare say this is one of the most important, because if you've done all the things I've shown you so far and you don't do this, you are simply hiding under a rock. You are simply good. You're one of those people that are very good, but nobody knows you. Nobody knows who you are. They don't know how good you are. Okay? So the whole world needs to know how good you are for you to land a job. And I'll show you how to do this and how professionals have also done this to enable them land jobs and opportunities. All right. So remember, you must always position yourself for success. The whole world needs to know how good you are. You've selected the right career path. You've learned the right way. You've worked in a project-based environment. You have evidence in your portfolio that you can do the job. How do you show the evidence to people? How do they know that you even have this evidence? And that's where you need to show everybody, okay? Put yourself in positions where opportunities would find you. And that's how you get the job. LinkedIn would be the platform, the best platform you would use for this. And I'll show you practically how you can do this, okay? And people that you can model. You can learn from what they've done. Just copy and paste what they've done in terms of their strategy, and you would get the same results, okay? So you must build a brand online. If you go on LinkedIn and you search Adeza Suleiman, or you search Tenalytics, you'd have no doubts about what we do. You'd understand clearly what we do. You understand exactly who I am by just doing a quick search on LinkedIn. If somebody searches for you on LinkedIn, what do they see? Is it clear? Can they tell, easily who you are and what you do? If that's not the case, then you need to build a personal brand using LinkedIn. That would give you visibility you need to land a job. All right. And I'm going to show you a case study of two professionals, Ene and Gad. I'm going to move a bit fast showing you this, but Ene, a data scientist who just landed a job a few months ago. Gad, a data engineer who just landed a job in January 2025. They're both in the UK. All right. And this is Ene and this is Gad. Ene got a job, I think, in April this year, just about 2-3 months ago. Gad got his job in January 2025. Gad is on full visa sponsorship. He came in as a student to the UK. He wanted sponsorship. He joined our data engineering program. And today, Gad is a data engineer, also with the NHS, full visa sponsorship. Now, when you look at the screenshots of their LinkedIn profile, you'd have no doubt that Ene is a data scientist. You'd also have no doubt that Gad is a data engineer, clearly indicated. I would go to their profiles and see what they do and how they were able to get here. And my focus would be a little bit more on Ene. And the reason why I would focus on Ene is because Ene does this, she's the best, perfect example of anybody who would love to showcase the work that they do. So if you're hiding, you don't put yourself out there, nobody knows you, nobody knows how good you are, then you are doing yourself a disservice. All right. So Ene got a job, like I mentioned. She lives in the UK, but she works remotely for a company in Germany. Okay. She works remotely for a company in Germany, living in the UK. She completed a data science internship with us in December 2024, and she got this job in April. Okay. We prepared her for our multiple interviews, prepared her referencing and everything. We worked with Ene to help her get here. Okay. And this was Ene's reference. So when you talk about referencing, I talked about that earlier. Okay. Every single job you get, employers would want to verify that you can actually do those things because you've done it somewhere before. And this was Ene's reference. This was sometime around the 22nd of April. Okay, hi Adeza Suleiman, please provide a reference for Ene or Jaide. I provided the reference, and this is the confirmation of the reference. Hi Adeza Suleiman, Ene or Jaide says, thank you for providing an everlasting reference via Zinc. Now, how did Ene get here? How did she get this job in April this year? After just completing her internship last year, December, how did she get this job? Let's go to Ene's profile very quickly, and I'll show you how she did it. And if you're not doing the same, start today. Okay. And for those who join our program, automatically you start to do this because this is one of the things you do under LinkedIn optimization. So if you remember the package section, you have CV review, LinkedIn optimization. One of the things you have to do under LinkedIn optimization is what Ene does, and we show you how to do it, okay? So I'm going to click on a post. And again, remember, you have access to all the links on my slide. Make sure you fill the attendance so that you don't miss out on this, okay? If I click on this, sorry, I'm going to use a different browser so that it's easier for you to So I click on the link. It takes me straight to Ene's profile. Okay. Now, Ene made this post about a month ago, and it's very instructive. So all the things I've been saying so far, Ene is simply advising other people. And she's saying that in the first half of 2025, I received 22 interview invites without applying. It sounds like an exaggeration. 22 invites, interview invites without applying to any job. How was this even possible? LinkedIn. That's the power of LinkedIn. If you have an optimized LinkedIn profile and you post regularly on LinkedIn, you share your knowledge, you build in public, this is what you get. Okay. So she talked about so many things. Here are the things I did differently. I didn't post like a job seeker. Remember, when you join Analytics, you don't join as a learner. You don't join as a job seeker. You join as a consultant, a contractor, because you're working on projects and you're showcasing that you know how to do the job. Okay. So, Nene giving you examples of what she did. And what did she say? I stopped shrinking my voice. And I'll show you what Ene does. She posts literally every single day. And of course, she gave us a shout out as well. If you need help getting interviews, try Analytics. Tell them what you need. All right. Because what Ene knows today, she learned from the program with us when she joined us sometime last year. And this is Ene's profile. Again, you have no doubts that Ene is a data scientist. Guess what? You both worked at Analytics and Amdari. That's Ene's profile. So when any recruiter comes here and they see that, oh, you've worked as a data scientist with Analytics, you've worked as a data scientist with Amdari. Remember, Amdari is where you do your internship. Okay, Amdari is a sister company to Analytics. You've worked in these two companies, then I think you're the best candidate for the job. Okay, so Ene got this job. She's 4 months into the role. She works remotely with a company in Germany, and she just started the role in April. But let's see what Ene did to get here. All right. So if you go to Ene's posts, every single day, Ene has a post. 13 hours ago, she made this post. Okay. So you can see Ene sharing her experience, sharing her knowledge, showcasing that she's an authority on the, in this field. She's a thought leader as well. All right. Okay. So showing simple LinkedIn hacks, posting about the project she has completed, and so on and so forth. Always posting. Okay. Talking about different things in data science. Let me take you back to the very beginning, and so on. Everybody talks about Python, SQL, etc., sharing her own perspective on all the things she learns and building in public. Okay. So 1 week ago, making posts 2 weeks ago. So Ene would always post. There was a particular project she completed in class and she posted it on her LinkedIn. She got multiple interviews from that project. I might have to scroll down, maybe, maybe 3 minutes down because she posts all, very often. So a lot of posts would have subsumed that post. I'd have loved to show you. She made a post on a project she completed in class and she got multiple interviews from there. And that was simply what Ene did, sharing her knowledge, building in public, and Ene landed that job in April. Same with Gad Onwachuku. Okay, if we click on that, it takes us to Gad's profile as well. When Gad started with us last year, I think around July or thereabouts, he made this post, excited to launch a 12-week data engineering challenge, something we always show you how to do and what to do. Okay, so this was Gad already announcing to hold himself accountable that every single day he would make posts about the things he would be learning, the things he would be, his perspective on data engineering and so on. Okay, this challenge is a part of my ongoing journey with Tenalytics, a leading data and strategy company. All right, so I'm taking my time to explain all of this so that you understand clearly what is required. So he made this post and he was always posting every single day. All right. And this is Gad. All right. One of the things you would also see is you both worked at Tenalytics. And you'd see God's profile. With us, worked with Tenalytics as an Azure data engineer. Today, he works with the NHS Business Service Authority as a data warehouse and ETL developer. In summary, that's a data engineer. He's also on full visa sponsorship, started his role January 2025. Okay. And just like God, the NHS would also reach out to say, hey, we want a reference. We want you to vouch that God has the experience and he has the knowledge to use these tools and technologies. So God joined us in July, joined the data engineering program in July 2024, did his CV, has his portfolio. There's a link to his portfolio right here. Did all the things he needed to do, applied to multiple jobs, tailored his applications. He knew where to apply, how to apply. And in January this year, he landed the job as a data warehouse and ETL developer. And the job came with sponsorship. Again, this was God's reference last year, October 25th. And he started the job in January. Every organization would want to vouch. Dear Mr. Deza Suleiman, we want you to provide a reference for God. And there is a link to provide that reference. So getting the skills is not just enough. You must be able to show the skills. Warehouse those projects, showcase to the world that you are good enough. And when you eventually get that offer to keep the job, you need a referee to vouch for you that you can actually do those things. And that's one of the major advantages you get from Tenalytics. Finally, you must know how to apply to jobs. I talked about this earlier. You must apply like your life depends on it. Okay? Apply, apply, apply. So one of the things I talked about earlier is never reuse a CV when applying to jobs. Always tailor every single application. Okay, apply to as many 10 quality applications per day. And of course, we make this a little bit easier for you. So while you're applying to your conventional job boards, we send you jobs to apply to. So if you go to your classroom, one of the first things you'd see in your classroom, let's go there very quickly. When you go to your classroom, one of the first things you see at the very top is important materials. Okay, so for example, you upload your CV here. You upload your CV, we revamp your CV for you, and then we show you how to tailor your CV. This is me holding a session and walking you through what you need to do to tailor your CV. So for every application you put in going forward, you know exactly what to do. All right. Then you have job sites, the type of roles you can apply to, and so on and so forth. And of course, you have the job offers. This is where we send you jobs every single week. And rather than you just applying to jobs, anywhere haphazardly, you have the opportunity. For those in the UK, for example, you want visa sponsorship jobs, we get them for you from platforms that are paid. So everybody would not have access to that platform. So you are one of the unique few who would have access to those exclusive jobs. And that's what gets you interviews a lot faster than your contemporaries. So every week you have these jobs. You're in Nigeria, you're in Canada, visa sponsorship. Yes, yes, yes. Every single week you apply, apply, apply. And that's what gets you access a lot faster. If you have an interview, what do? Just go to your dashboard. All right, go to your dashboard and you'd see where you have schedule appointments. So all you have to do is click on schedule appointments. You enter all the details, fill the date. When do you want your interview? Is it first stage, second level? If it's just a HR conversation or first level, select, copy and paste the job description. Okay, send us the link to that job. Select the date you want to be prepared for the interview. Upload the CV you used to apply and book an interview session. If you want your interview prep on Sunday, somebody will join a call. You listen to Ramat. When she had an interview, a professional prepared her for that interview. This is how you book your interview prep. Okay, for those of you, some people are doing their PhDs, their masters, they need references, recommendation letters. We provide that. You want to apply to the Global Talent Visa, you need reference for, the technician endorsements. We provide that for you. You've gotten a job just like God, just like all the other fantastic professionals. What do? The companies reach out to us. We provide a reference for you. All right. So this is the platform where you have access to everything that you need. And of course, you have your mentorship sessions. Your mentorship sessions hold every single Thursday. Thursday, you have a mentorship session, how to navigate the job market. This was the last session we had on Thursday. Now, we brought in an alumnus who had gotten about 7 offers this year alone. He's in Canada. He joined our program, got a job, and after that, he's just been getting so many interviews, so many offers, and he has been, declining and selecting the job offer that he actually wants to do. Okay, so he's gotten about 7 offers already. I've been working with him with his referencing. I've been working with him with his interviews, and we brought him to a live session. Show people what you're doing. Okay, so they can see that this is coming from somebody who was in your shoes just a few months ago, but now he's doing amazing stuff and so on. Okay, so you have the session where, again, the recording is available. All you have to do, click. If you miss the session, you want to come back, watch it at any point in time, you can do that. You click on the link, it takes you to the recording, and you have the opportunity to watch everything that happened. If you ever miss a session, every single session is recorded, so you don't miss anything eventually. All right. So that's what the mentorship is. You have professionals, experts guiding you to ensure that your journey is not as stressful as theirs. So you shorten the time it takes for you to transition. Okay. So just before we move into the next part, because the next part I want to show you now is, the career path you want to move into, number 1. Number 2, how to learn the skills. Number 3, that it's important you learn in a project-based environment. Okay, let me refresh this. You know how important it is to learn in a project-based environment. And you also know that you must have evidence that you've done the job. And if you have evidence that you've done the job, what next? You must be able to showcase that evidence. So this is the gentleman I talked about. We brought him back for the mentorship session, and Bemi worked practically. You can see him going to LinkedIn. You'd see him going to ChatGPT. You'd see him going to JobScan, showing you everything that he does. This is JobScan. All right, showing you everything he does to ensure that he lands interviews and eventually he selects the type of job that he wants. Okay, so this is him on ChatGPT showing you what he does and how he's been able to, land multiple roles and so on and so forth. That's the opportunity you get being in a community like Tenalytics. Okay, so many professionals. We have so many success stories. I'm not going to bore you with all of them. What I want to show you now, so that we start to wrap up, is, as a data analyst, what skills must you know, must you learn? Now you know how to learn those skills. It must be in a project-based environment. But what skills specifically? Adeza, I want to know. For a business analyst, I want to go into business analysis. What particular set of skills must I have? I want to know. I'm going to show you that very quickly. We'll do a Q&A, and then we start to wrap up our session. This is Abednego. Abednego, a Ghanaian who joined our data analytics program in August 2024. And Abednego landed a job in Winnipeg, Canada, this month in July 2025. Followed all the same approach I've mentioned so far. Okay, it was in June last month, rather. Abednego landed this job. We had an interview with Abednego. It will be fantastic for you to listen to him. He got the role as a quality improvement analyst with the city of Winnipeg in Canada. All right. He had a fantastic story to tell, from how he moved to Germany, moved to France, then moved to Canada, just because he wanted to land a job and better opportunities. He joined our program, and eventually he was able to fulfill his desire of getting a proper job as a quality improvement analyst here in Canada. Bukola as well. Bukola wanted experience. She joined us last year in July 2024. Bukola had just moved from Nigeria to the US. She was a HR professional back in Nigeria, but she got to the US and realized that her skills limited her to opportunities. She joined our business analysis program, and today Bukola works as a HR business analyst. So she took her HR experience and we helped her do that. Her HR experience, she learned business analysis, and we combined the two, and she landed a job as a HR business analyst in the US. She also shared all of these during an interview. To be fantastic for you to listen and learn from Bukola as well. Okay, so never forget, learn, package, apply. That's what would get you the job. Let's go to the skills you need and what it takes for you to be a part of Tenalytics, and then we call it a day. If you've gotten value for your time so far, just type in a yes into the chat. Before we go ahead, type in a yes into the chat if you've gotten value for your time so far. Just like to get feedback from you. Fantastic. Brilliant. So absolutely. That's what somebody said. Absolutely. Okay. Awesome. Now let's move on. As a data analyst, and I'm going to, breeze through this as fast as I can. All right. As a business analyst, you must start with your data skills. Never forget, a lot of business analysts that I've met, they don't have data skills. In 2025, if you're a business analyst, you have no data skills, you'll struggle in the job market. So always start with your data skills: Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Then you move into process mapping using tools like Lucidchart and Draw.io to map out processes. How does a process start? How does it end? Project initiation and planning, Agile and Scrum for projects. So as a business analyst, you would also manage projects. So you need to understand the Agile methodology, the Scrum framework, project initiation and planning, the software development lifecycle. And we've had a business analyst who got a job as a project manager simply because she was able to harness and speak about her knowledge on these areas. I'll show you the lady who got that job eventually. Okay, you'd learn requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement, chat GPT for analysis. For your project management skills, you'll learn how to use tools like Confluence to collaborate on projects, Jira to track project deliverables, Trello to monitor your team members' task responsibilities, Azure DevOps to ensure you implement the Agile methodology working on projects, and ChatGPT for the business analyst program. The salary for the business analyst is also fantastic. In the UK, about £52,000 per annum. Canada, over 74,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, about 85,000 to six figures, depending on the industry, depending on, so many other factors. But this is the average, okay, income you will or you can compete for as a business analyst. And then you have the Agile project manager. You'd learn introduction to project management methodologies, because as an Agile project manager, you focus more on the Agile methodology. But you have the waterfall and you also have the Wagile. Wagile is a combination of Agile and waterfall. Okay, so you learn about all these methodologies. You learn skills and communication for the project manager, foundation of Agile and Scrum, the Scrum artifacts, increments, product backlog. You'd learn about the end-to-end use of Jira and Confluence to manage projects, the workflow management using the Kanban boards, velocity, the burn up, the burn down charts, and so on and so forth, and would also help you prepare for the professional Scrum Master examination. All right. As an agile project manager in the US, six figures, $108,000. You listen to Hope. Hope is in Canada, and she said it clearly. I'm making six figures, and that's absolutely phenomenal. Hope is a lady who had certifications but couldn't land a job, and we worked with her. She got a job in Canada, six figures. On the average, as an agile project manager, you will be looking at 97,000 to six figures, 53,000 pounds in the UK. Every program at Tenalytics comes with 6 months learning, 2 months internship. I talked about the internship earlier, but the learning process is for 6 months to ensure that you have all the time and flexibility to embody all the skills, work on so many projects, and at the end of the day, you have the skills required to do that job. Okay, so the learning timeline is 8 months, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. So this is not your become a project manager, become a business analyst in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or in 4 weeks. No, this is an immersive, comprehensive program to get you the job. All right. And it doesn't matter where you are. You have classes only on Saturdays. Only on Saturdays. If you're in the UK, your class would be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. UK time. If you're in North America, the US, Canada, your class would be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain time. Okay. So for those in the US, for those in Canada, you have a class tailored to your time zone. For those in the UK, you have a class tailored to your time zone. So if you're in the UK, you are in Europe, in Germany, you are in Poland, wherever you are, similar time zones with the UK, you have a class tailored. You're in Nigeria, you're in Ghana, West Africa, you have a class tailored to your time zone. Okay. And every other day from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and so on, you join the LMS, the learning management system, you watch your videos, you practice on your own. And on Saturday, you join a live class. All right. For the data engineer, for the data scientist, for the data analyst, similar timeline, different skills. As a data engineer, just like Gad, who works with the NHS, fantastic salary. In the UK, about 65,000 pounds. In the Canada, six figures, 102,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, six figures, 134,000 US dollars. As a data engineer, you must understand what data engineering is all about. You are the data provider. You are the one that ensures that the data is available in the company. Every other stakeholder, the data analyst, the business analyst, the data scientist, the HR analyst, the financial analyst, they depend on the data engineer to make the data available for them to analyze. All right. So your role is very important, and it also reflects in the remuneration available to the data engineer. So you learn about data engineering, you learn SQL to build your data warehouses, to your data infrastructure. You learn Python for your ETL pipelines, the pipelines that would move data from wherever it is generated to where the data should be. You'd use Python to do that. You'd learn Linux for your bash scripting. You'd learn how to get data from different sources, from databases, from APIs, from the web. You'd learn Apache Spark and Apache Airflow for your data pipeline automation, data orchestration, and so on. You'd learn cloud engineering with GCP and Azure. GCP is Google Cloud Platform. That's the Google platform, their cloud infrastructure. You'd also learn Microsoft Azure, version control with GitHub, ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. That's the AI aspect of the data engineering embedded within the program. Then you have the data science career path. As a data scientist, you also earn phenomenal salary in the UK, about 55,000 pounds. Canada, about $94,000. In the US, six figures, 121,000 US dollars. You learn statistics. You start with that. Statistics is the foundation of data science. A lot of people start their data science by learning Python, something that sounds fancy. I'm going to learn Python. Python, if you start that way, you are building a house, but you're starting from the roof. You have to learn the foundation of data, the foundation of machine learning, and it is all hinged around statistics. Okay. Then you learn Excel using predictive analytics and forecasting and predictive analytics using Excel, Tableau for data analytics, SQL, Python. You learn Python for exploratory data analysis, machine learning, computer vision, version control using GitHub, ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot, which is the AI module for the data scientist. And you'd also learn Microsoft Fabric for analytics. And as a data analyst in the UK, you earn about £45,000 per annum. In Canada, about 71,000 to about $90,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, about 86,000 to six figures per annum on the average. Okay. You start with problem solving. So a lot of people as well think learning to become a data analyst is simply, learning Excel, learning Power BI. No, you must understand how to solve problems. How do you break a problem into multiple parts using techniques like the McKinsey-Mason model? Okay. How do you get to the root cause of a problem using techniques like the 5 Why? How do you prioritize the problems you need to start with to solve a bigger problem using the prioritization matrix and so on? That's where it starts from. How do you understand the framework to use when solving data-related problems? Frameworks like the CRISP DM framework. Okay. So these are the things you learn under problem solving. That's the background. It's like building a house, but you build a foundation. You start with that before you build on top of it. Then you learn Excel, you learn SQL, you learn Power BI for your data visualization, business intelligence, you learn Tableau, data storytelling, AI for the data analyst using ChatGPT, and then Microsoft Fabric. All right. And of course, all the programs, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. Again, all the classes are tailored based on your location. If you're joining from the UK, there's a class for you. Joining from North America, the US, Canada, you don't need to join classes at odd hours. You have a class that fits your time zone. Now, the beauty about this is if I'm in the UK and I'm not available at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., I can join the class for those in the US, which will be roughly 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. my time. So if I'm not available in the morning, I can join in the evening. And that's the flexibility that you have. All right. The financial analysts, the HR analysts are both data analysts. These two professionals are data analysts. The difference between them and the data analysts is that their focus is a little bit more specialized. As a financial analyst, you are specialized on analyzing financial data. As a HR analyst, you are specialized on analyzing HR and people data. But at the core of what you do is data itself. So you're a data analyst. So all the tools and technologies the data analyst would learn, you'd also get to learn them. But as a financial analyst, you'd get into accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, and then ChatGPT for financial analytics. Same for the HR analyst. You learn all the core data areas, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL, and then you move into HR analytics and performance evaluation, HR metrics and lifecycle, HR analysis and dashboarding, collaboration and report automation, building your case and creating action, and AI for the HR analyst using ChatGPT. Again, you don't need prior experience. I studied industrial chemistry. I'm a data analyst. Mawutin was in operations. He's a data analyst. Ramat was a customer service professional. She's a business architect, and so many people like that. All you have to do, learn the skills, work on projects, follow the guidelines I've given you, and you'll find yourself in a career path that is progressive and also highly rewarding. Last but not the least is cybersecurity. Okay, so the cybersecurity program gives you access to 3 specializations. Number 1 is as a GRC consultant, governance, risk, and compliance analyst. Number 2, you have ethical hacking, or let's call them the penetration testers, penetration testers, okay, or the ethical hackers. And number 3, you have the SOC analyst, the security operations center analyst. So when you get into your internship, you specialize in one of these 3 areas, okay? But the program itself cuts across all 3. So by the time you are done with your 6 months of learning, you would have worked on projects on GRC, learned about the different techniques, technologies, worked on projects in ethical hacking, penetration testing, and also as a SOC analyst. But then you specialize when you get into the internship. So you start with understanding the different roles, the different technologies. You learn about networking, network security, threats and vulnerabilities, the SOC roles and responsibilities, network reconnaissance, vulnerability scanning. You learn about threat detection and response, threat intelligence lifecycle, and so on and so forth. You learn about governance and compliance framework. You learn how to carry out compliance audits and policy development. You learn security awareness training and reporting. You learn all these different areas, your key learning areas, and you learn how to use different tools and technologies to carry out your responsibility as a cybersecurity professional. And again, the cybersecurity professional earns phenomenal salary. In Canada, very high in demand. In the US as well. Again, in the UK, about £57,000 per annum, 140,000 in Canada, $105,000 in the US. Classes are tailored based on your region. If you are joining from Europe, you are joining from England, Northern Ireland, Wales, wherever you are joining from the US, joining from Canada, there's a class that fits your time zone. And you have the opportunity to choose the class you would like to join, depending on your own schedule and availability. All right. So there's so many more success stories. I'm not going to bore you with all of this. You would have them when you get my slide. This is Ikmat. She was a stay-at-home mom for 2 years, wanted to get a job, wanted sponsorship in the UK. She got that last year as an information analyst. Again, there was a full interview. You have access to this. Judith was a carer. She worked as a care worker. Okay. She went to her daughter's school, saw a friend who told her that, oh, I just learned from Tenalytics and I got a job. Since you want to move away from this job as a carer, go to Tenalytics. She came to us, joined our business analysis program. Back in Nigeria, Judith also worked in HR. She came to us March last year. She completed our program. 3 months after, in July, she got a job in the US, living in the UK, but working with a company in the US as a business analyst. Again, there was a full interview with Judith. Amazing, amazing lady, amazing professional. We talked about Pavel already, the teacher in Cameroon who became a healthcare data and reporting analyst. Amaka was 6 months out of job in Canada. She joined our HR analytics program in July last year. And by December, she got a job as a HR data analyst with Sask Energy in Saskatchewan, Canada. This is the lady who did business analysis with us, but she got a job as a project manager. And like I mentioned earlier, that's simply because the business analysis program has within its project management skills. Okay. So we were able to help her prepare for her interviews because she had a lot of roles. Recruiters were reaching out to her for project management roles. Her name is Lois. She was an accountant back in Nigeria and she did procurement back in Nigeria. But today, she's a project manager in the UK. All right. You'd want to listen to Lois, absolutely phenomenal lady. Oluwadamilare, who is a sustainability data analyst in Leeds in the UK. You have Sonia, who is a HR analyst working in the UK as well. Idris Adebisi, he worked with Jaguar Land Rover in Coventry, currently works with QuantSpark in the UK in London as a data engineer after completing our program. You also want to listen to him. Chika is a financial analyst. You have Tony, who was a pharmacist back in Nigeria. Today, Tony works with the NHS as a benefits analyst after completing the data analytics program. This was the gentleman who got multiple roles, multiple offers, was turning down offers and selecting the jobs he wants to do. His name is Olugbemi. He moved from Nigeria. We worked with him all through his journey. He didn't want to do the menial jobs in Canada, so he knew what he wanted. He joined our data analytics program, and about 2-3 months after coming to Canada, he got his first job with the Law Depot as a business data analyst. Then he moved to another role a few months after as a solution analyst with Wawanesa Insurance. And of course, Olugbemi has about 2-3 jobs today, doing amazingly well for himself. Benga is in Poland, also got a job. Oluwatosin is a fraud analyst in the UK, helping companies identify credit card frauds as an analyst. Also got that after completing our program. Mary got a sponsorship. Mary she had no experience in tech. She always worked shifts in the UK as well, joined our business analysis program last year, November. And by March, she got her sponsorship from NatWest as a business data analyst. And this was the response from the Home Office saying she's on a 5-year pathway to ILR, and so many other professionals. Okay. I'd have loved you to listen to Oyefikayo. Oyefikayo was in finance. It's a 1-minute video, so very short. I want you to listen to Oyefikayo. She was in finance here in Canada, joined, but she wanted to leave finance because according to her in the interview, it was so stressful. She wanted something where she could work from home. She joined our full stack data science program. And today she got a job as a business intelligence analyst in October last year. All right. I want you to listen to Oyefikayo, and then that'll be the end of our session today. I'll show you what it takes to start. What does it take to get started in terms of the investment you need to make? And we take Q&A questions. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. I'll be very happy to answer. And then we call it a day today. But let's listen to Oyefikayo just for 1 minute, and then we come back to wrap up.
I'm so happy I got the job. I got the job 1 month to the end of my program. Good afternoon. My name is Oyefikayo Adesina. I got to know about analytics through one of their Instagram adverts at that point where I just needed a direction. I would say that is still one of the best decisions I've ever made in my career. Ever since I joined them, the classes, resources, instructors, they are great people. They are always there to support you. You have the Watch Me Do It videos where you can go at your learning pace, and you have the Saturday classes. You have assignments, you have team project where you learn, you work with different people on your team. Joining Analytics has helped me a lot because my background is finance. I'm new to tech. I've never done coding in my life, but now I can tell you I have a very good grasp of what is going on. They have the live sessions, they have the weekly, they have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday programs where you can join CV review sessions, where you can review your CV. You have your interview review sessions. This kind of support they give to you will be surprised. When I booked my interview session, they were really on my case. Like, they just gave me that support, they gave me that confidence I needed for the interview. And I'm so happy I got the job. I got the job 1 month to the end of my program. And even after getting a reference letter, like all the support you need to succeed, they will hold you by the hand till you are where you need to be.
So that's Oyefikayo. We had a full interview with her. Very pleasant, amazing lady, and she's doing very well for herself. Okay, so how do you start, and how can you start today? All these professionals you've all listened to, they started the same way. They joined a free session like this. They understood exactly what they wanted to do. All right. And for those who didn't understand exactly what to do, they had the opportunity to have conversations with us and decided to start. The most important thing is to get started. All right. So we have a new cohort starting on the 9th of August, just about 2 weeks from now. And I have an amazing discount, but the discount is closing very fast. Okay. Today is the session where after the registrations from this session, the discount is likely going to go off completely. And I'll tell you what that amazing discount is and how you can key into the discount we have available for you. The next cohort is on the 9th of August. The July cohort started, I think, on the 5th of July or thereabout. The next one is on the 9th of August. So for any of the programs you would love to join, business analysis, data analytics, data science, cybersecurity, irrespective, the full amount typically is $900 to get started for the 8 months program, 6 months learning, 2 months internship, all the things you heard from your CV, helping you with your CV, helping you with your LinkedIn, preparing you for interview, all the entire package, $900. But the discounts we have for you, rather than paying $900, we have a 20% discount where you get to pay only $750. And to even cap it up, you don't have to make the payments in one full installment. You can make your payments in 5 monthly installments. So what you need to get started today is just $150. This gets you into the program. You start on the 9th of August and you make subsequent payments month in, month out. All right. I'm going to show you how to do that, how to register for those who are interested in getting started. And for those of you who are not yet entirely sure, should I do business analysis or data engineering? I loved the way Oyefikayo sounded. She did data science. Should I do data science or should I do HR analytics? If you have that confusion, that's fine. Okay. So I'll show you how to take advantage of the discount and also book a clarity session. The clarity session is where you have the opportunity to speak with a career coach and they walk you through, listen to your background, listen to your previous experience, and they guide you on the program to select. We don't select for you, but we guide you on what to select if you're not convinced in terms of the pathway you would like to take. The discount we have available, the 20% discount, is for the first 20 people to register. It's not for everyone. The discount slots are limited. Okay, so the first 20 people to register gets access. And like I said, I'll show you how to get started, how to take advantage of that. So all you have to do is click on this link and it takes you into the enrollment center. The enrollment center is where you have the opportunity. You can get access to all the program brochures. Okay, you can see the nitty-gritty of all the things you would learn. You have that on the website as well in terms of all the key learning areas. All right, and you can also select the program you'd love to join. So you want to join business analysis, you want to join data analytics, you can easily do that. Just click on register and it takes you to the specific program. Okay, so out of the 20 slots, we have 12 left, 12 slots left because we opened this, I think yesterday. Okay, so 8 slots are gone already for business analysis. And you can make your payments in any currency preferred to you based on your location. So normally you get your default location. You want to make payments in dollars, US dollars, come to the top right, select US dollars. Okay. So remember, if you select the 5 monthly payments, you are making $150 every month for 5 months. So it gives you that flexibility to be a part of the program. Starts with just 150. The following month, 150. The next month, 150. So that's easy for you to start. That's the money you take to Costco. You take to for those in the UK, you go to Primark or you go to Poundland or wherever, and you spend that, within one shopping trip. All right. And this is what it takes for you to get your career going, transition into a fantastic career path. Now, for those making a one-time payment or 2 monthly payments, you get a further discount of about $50. So instead of paying $750, $150 for 5 months, if you make a one-time payment, you get to pay just $700. Or if you're paying in 2 installments, $350, you get to pay $700 as well. But if you want the 5 monthly payments, come in here, select. If you want to make payments in Naira, payments in Ghanaian cedi, any currency, you can select that right here. Okay. So let's say I want to pay in pounds, for example, GBP, British pounds, select that. Automatically, you'd see what the conversion is. All right. I want to pay in 5 monthly payments. I select this. I get to pay just £123 to start on the 9th of August. And I can also make my subsequent payments for the next 5 months, and I complete the program. Okay. So select this, click on secure your seat. You'd see the timeline. I make my first payment today, make my second payment a month after, third payment in September, fourth payment in October, last payment in November. Click on proceed, enter your details, your full name, your email. You click on proceed. I need to provide an email address. Okay. Looks good. Confirm your email is correct. Looks good. You enter your card details. All right. And by the time you complete this, you click on confirm payment. When you confirm payments, what happens? You get an automated confirmation email, and you also get redirected to a form, the registration form, to complete that form. If you don't have time to complete it immediately, the form, the link to the form gets sent to your email. So you have no worries. You have that right there for you. All right. So you can fill the form later if you want to do that. Now, for those filling the form, when you've completed payment and you're filling the registration form, I'll show you what it looks like. And this is for those who want to you want to book a clarity session. Okay. You want to speak with somebody to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? I'm thinking data analytics. I'm thinking business analysis. Which one do I go for? So if you have that confusion while filling the form, which is pretty straightforward, you click on next. Type of payments. I made an initial payment, first installment. Click on next. You have the emails to reach to the account team. If you want to reach out to them and all of that, click on next. Click on next. Enter your details, first name, last name, provide an email, gender, next. Terms and conditions. You have any questions, you want to reach out to any of the team members, you have phone numbers and the emails. Enquiries at tenalytics.io, admission at tenalytics.io. You can reach out to my colleagues on any of these numbers. Click on next. When did you make payments? I made payments today, the 26th of July. Upload a screenshot, mode of payment. I paid using the website I just saw now. Click on next. Name on the account, next. Which program are you registering for? Okay. So now this is where I get to select. If I'm sure I want to register for data engineering or agile project management, select that. If you're not sure, you want to have a conversation, you select, I need to speak to a professional. I need to speak to a professional. So what we do for you is we organize that clarity session. We answer the questions you have, and you have the opportunity of getting clarity on what to do. Next, for those of you who want to take advantage of the discounts today, but you have commitments on the 9th of August, you want to start in September, can I do that? Yes, you can. Okay. The advantage for you is you have a discount that others would not enjoy by registering today. So what cohorts do I want to start? You can start on the 9th of August. That's the next available cohort. Or you can start on the 6th of September. So we have cohorts from January till the end of the year. However, the discounts are not always available. So the advantage is you register, you can start in September, and you have that opportunity to do that. The country of residence, select all those details, and you fill the form. Once you've done that, you are in the program. A week before the program commences, you will receive a welcome kit. You'd receive the link for you to join your dashboard, your LMS, okay? The link for you to join your live classroom, your WhatsApp group. There's a WhatsApp group available. You also have, that's where you have access to interact with your trainer any day, anytime, and so on. Okay, so you get all those links and you prepare to get started on the 9th of August. I'm going to take questions for those who have questions, and that's how you get started, okay? Before we start taking questions, one of the things I want you to do as a takeaway from today's session is go to the Tenalytics YouTube. Follow us across all platforms, because that's the best way for you to know the new updates and the amazing stuff that we do from time to time, all right? And I'll start from YouTube, okay? So go to YouTube, search for Tenalytics, okay? Go to YouTube, search for Tenalytics, all right? Go to the Tenalytics page, and then you'd see the videos of all the amazing sessions we've had for over the last 4 years. Make sure you subscribe so you always get updated on that. Now, for those of you that even want to see more success stories, because all the links I have on my slide, they're from here. Okay, so you can either get the slide or you can simply go to YouTube and watch and listen to professionals that have done what you're trying to do. So I can watch videos from here. This is Bukola, the HR lady that moved to the US, got a job as a HR business analyst. You can listen to the interview. Abednego was also here, amazing professionals. So if I click on the alumni success stories, it takes me to the playlist of all the success stories. This is Chukwe Buka, who landed a job in cybersecurity in the UK, I believe, after training with us, after completing his program with us. This is Peace, who got a job as an operations and research analyst. Linda got a job as a business analyst. So you can listen to all these amazing people. All right. This is Salami in Nigeria, got a job with Flutterwave after training with us, and so on and so forth. Okay. So you have access. This is Hope. You listen to Hope today. This is Adetayo, got a job in cybersecurity, and so on. All right. So make sure you get inspired by one of these people. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and so on and so forth. Okay. I'll take a breather and then I'll take questions. All right. I'll start from the chat because I know we have questions from the chat. I'll start from there and then maybe one or two people. Let me see. Your CV optimization is done about, except you have a special request. Your CV optimization is done about 3 months after starting. And the reason why we do this 3 months after is because we want to ensure that you have the right number of, skills. So within 3 months, you would have gotten enough skills for you to start applying to jobs. If you listen to Ramat, the lady who got a job with the NHS as a business architect, who was a customer service with British Gas, she clearly mentioned that she got a job before she finished. She started applying to jobs about a month or two after she started. So we always push and advise you to do the same. Apply, apply, apply. All right. But at that time, we know that you've learned good number of skills that you can use to compete for the jobs available. You don't need to complete the entire 8 months before you start applying or complete the entire 6 months. No, 3 months into your journey, sometimes even people apply even 2 months into their journey and they get jobs eventually. Because guess what? Some companies who want to hire a data analyst, a business analyst, let's say a HR analyst, for example, they want specific set of skills. And I'll give you a very good example. There was a lady who got a job as a program analyst working with the government of Saskatchewan. And her role was to analyze the different programs of the Saskatchewan government for people living with disability. And the tool required for her to do those analyses was only Excel. And at that time she started with us, she had learned problem solving in HR analytics and also learned Excel. So that was enough. And she had completed that about a month and a half into the program. And she didn't need to wait. She came to us, can I apply to this job? Absolutely. They only want Excel. Go ahead and apply. She applied, prepared her for her interviews, and she landed that job just a month and a half after starting. Okay. And that's what we guide you on how to do. I'm struggling to pay. Any guidance, please. If you have questions on how to make payments, what you need to do, this is how you can ease. My colleagues are also in the chat. You can post it there. They would help you out. Or you can simply just send an email. Okay. You can send an email to enquiries. You can send an email to finance at tenalytics.io. Okay. Somebody would respond to you, or you can reach out to any of my colleagues on this number. Okay. And somebody would help you out with any question, any challenges that you're facing. Okay. Let me see. Can I pay with Bitcoin? Charity, unfortunately, not now. Okay, we don't have that option for Bitcoin. Maybe in the future we would look into that, but right now, no, we don't. You can only make payments using the links, going to the website, and so on and so forth. Okay, enter your credit card, your debit card details, and you go ahead to make payments. For those that need special requests, maybe you want to pay using Interac, for example, or you want to do a transfer, that's a special request. All you have to do, send an email to finance@tenalytics.io or enquiries@tenalytics.io. Somebody would respond to you and advice on what you need to do. Okay, let me see. I just got my right to work in the UK. I've applied for several jobs, but I haven't made it to the interview level. Almost everyone is telling me I will not secure any job, not until I do a course here in the UK, because both my job experience, that's not true. Ella, that's not true. Very, very wrong information. Okay, I got my first job in the UK I hadn't worked a second in the UK, and I got my first job in the UK. All right, your experience from Africa is very relevant. Excel in Nigeria is Excel in the UK. Power BI in Ghana is Power BI in the US. Okay, so the same tools, the same technologies. So your experience and the skills you have are relevant. What I think you are doing wrong is the way you're applying to jobs. Okay, so first of all, is your CV right? Is it optimized? Is it keyword optimized? Is it ATS friendly? So those are the questions you should start asking. Do you have a LinkedIn profile? Okay, are you somebody that if I want to hire you for the role you're applying to, do you have a social persona? So if you joined from the beginning, you'd have seen all the things I showed you, Ella. Okay, if you don't have those things, you might find it difficult, but it's not because you haven't studied in the UK. Trust me, I'll tell you for free. I've lived in the UK, I've worked in the UK, I've studied in the UK, and that's false information. And that's one of the things that people, pass across. You need UK work experience, you need Canadian work experience. All those things mean nothing if you don't position yourself properly. Okay, so what you need to do, Ella, is look at the things, go back when you get the recording at the end of today's session, watch it again from start till finish. If you position yourself the way you should, position yourself right, you will land a job, even with your African experience and your African, credentials. Yeah, the CV might be your problem, Ella. How can you help me, especially with the CV? Okay, so Ella, what you need to do, reach out to any of my colleagues on any of these numbers, okay? Or once you click on pay in installments, you also have access to chats with any of my colleagues. I'll show you that. So when you click on pay in installments, click on pay like you want to pay, you would see chats with Tenalytics. If you click on this button, it opens up WhatsApp and you can easily chat with any of my colleagues. Or if you go to our website, okay, make sure you join our community. First of all, make sure you join. All right. You see the get help. You can send a message to us. Somebody would respond to you almost immediately. Or you can simply scroll all the way down. Scroll all the way down. And you can reach out to any of us using any of these numbers. Just reach out, Ella. Somebody would help you out, okay? Or my colleague is also responding to you in the chat. Let me see if I can take more questions. Why do you extend the time of the program from 4 to 8? Okay, somebody asked that question. If you listen to some of the success stories, especially from 2023, 2020, early 2024, the program used to be a little bit shorter, 4 months with internship, but now it is 6 months with the internship, 2 months internship to make 8 months. The reason why we elongated the program was simply because for somebody who currently just moved to the UK newly, doing the care job, working in the warehouse, doing multiple shifts, we saw a trend of people not having enough time, even though the classes were, weekends. So what we've done now is for you to have a flexible timeline for you to join. And even if you miss one class, you really haven't missed anything. Okay, you have the opportunity to make up for that because you have an elongated timeline. All right. So what we are simply doing is, rather than having a more intensive 4 months of learning, you have a more comprehensive and flexible 6 months of learning, and then you have your internship to cap it up. Okay. So if you miss a class for any reason whatsoever, you have something called the drop-in session. The drop-in session is where you have the opportunity to join during the week. You join a session with your trainer. Oh, I missed the class on Saturday, and your trainer would show you, this was what we did. Where do you have issues? Where do you have challenges? And this is after you've watched the videos, because every single session has the class recording. So if you miss the class, the live class, there's always the recording. Go back to the recording, click on that, and you have the opportunity to watch exactly what happened in class on that day. Okay, so you can watch and see everything that happened on that day, the presentations and so on, the case studies and so on and so forth. Once you've done that, if you have further questions, you can then join the drop-in session. So you have avenue to ensure that you are not left behind, even though you are a slow learner or you are a fast learner. The 6 months gives you enough time to ensure that you learn and gain all the skills you need to learn. Okay? Let me see. If I'm interested in financial analyst, data analyst, do I have to pay differently? Yes, absolutely. Those are two different programs. Okay, so you pay for, advisably, you start with one because it's difficult for you to do two at a time. Okay, no matter how intelligent you are, at a point you'd have your classes clashing, your presentations clashing, your assignments, your projects, you'd have it clash. So you don't want that to happen. Okay, so start with one, complete that one, and then come back for the second. When you come back for the second one, you have something we call the alumni discount, which is an extra 5%. Okay, for those coming back as a repeat customer. All right, I hope that answers your question. You don't need a fantastic keyboard skills goal day. All right, all you need to do getting into any of our program is simple. You know how to open a folder, you know how to work with a laptop, you know how to browse the internet, simple computer operations, nothing technical. All right, everything you need to learn, you learn that in class. Okay, I think I'll take about 2 more questions, and then after BA, can I do DA? Absolutely, you can. What certificates are students awarded? Brilliant question. I think I got that question during the last session I held. So you get two certificates from Tenalytics. The first one is to show that you've gone through the program for 6 months. The second one is to show that you've completed the internship. All right. And I'll show you what it looks like. So usually people would go to posts when they get their certificates. Let me go on LinkedIn. The post on LinkedIn, again, just sharing their journey, if you will. This is Bosa, for example. This is Bosa last year posting his certificates. He completed a data engineering program, master data engineer, posting about that. Let me see. This is Kufre. Kufre, 9 months ago, posted this as well. Master data scientist. Kufre is in Canada, joined our data science program. And this is Ruth. Ruth posted this 1 month ago. Okay. From fear to confidence, my cybersecurity journey. Just over a year ago, I took a bold step. I decided to explore and so on and so on. Okay. So this is the certificate for the internship, and then her certificate, for the completion of the program. So these are the two certificates that you get. Okay. And just to wrap up, last year we got into the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity program, which is a program for fast growing companies offering amazing value to customers and so on. That's myself right there. That's the co-founder of Tenalytics, Efemena, and that's the both of us here. So we participated with amazing professionals. This was a program by the Alberta government, and you can also read the article. Sorry about that. If you click on the link, it takes you to the article. It's an interesting read. Okay. So read about this, meet the startups in Northern Alberta Velocity cohorts. That's me. That's Efemena. Yeah. So that's Tenalytics, helps Africans and the Black community break into tech careers and so on. Helped over 2,500. It's a good read. It will be beautiful for you to watch this. We also did a pitch. Okay. So you might want to watch the pitch as well right here by clicking on this link. Quite interesting. And of course, our accreditation by the American Council of Training and Development. Again, you can click on this, takes you to the website of the ACTD, the American Council of Training and Development, and you get to read about our accreditation as well. Okay. So I'm going to call it a day. We'll pause at this point in time. Don't forget, follow all the platforms from LinkedIn to Instagram and so on. And I'll see if I can take more questions before we wrap up. Let me see. Make sure you get started. That's the most difficult thing to do, starting. So if you know you want to land a job, you've always had that goal. I want to land a job, not just any type of job, a proper job, high in demand, going to be relevant over the next 5 to 10 years. So I won't find myself trying to pivot and transition in the next 2 years. This is the best time to start. There is no point wasting time. The best time to start. If you had an amazing time today, this is a free session. You got value for your time. Type in yes into the chat. Let's get some quick feedback before we call it a day. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I can't wait to work with every single one of you. You have a brother, you have a sister, you have a colleague, you have a family member that you think can benefit from this. Share the message with them. We had an 18-year-old who got a job. He got a job. Let me show you. So go to my LinkedIn. I made a post about that a few days ago. Go to my LinkedIn. His brother joined a session like this. His elder brother joined a session and realized that I think my younger brother can do this. He paid for his younger brother. His younger brother got started and he landed a job recently. I must show you this before I leave here today, okay? So let me go to my posts. Let me go to my post very quickly. Suggested posts. Yeah, so that's the post right there. So I made a post about this 2 days ago. All right. His name is Christian Adeshola. he made a post and I reposted against the odds, landing a tech role at 18. In September 2024, I was 17 at that time. My senior brother, who had always encouraged me to aim high, saw potential in me and paid for data analytics training program at Tenalytics. His belief gave me the push I needed. Over the next 4 months, I immersed myself in the world of Excel, SQL, Power BI, and Tableau, determined to understand how numbers shape decisions and that companies make every day. He talked about how he did his internship, began his hands-on internship, and so on. The hard parts applying to jobs. And guess what? To my surprise and joy, I was offered the role. He got a job with Market Trends International, and that's his job offer right here. He made a post. Okay. You should read this story. Absolutely amazing. And I reposted it. So to everyone out there thinking that it's too early or too late to begin, you're just wrong. The best time to start is now. Okay. So thank you very much for being a part of our Saturday, for joining us today for this session. And I'm glad you had an amazing time. If you have any questions, book a clarity session, join my colleagues. They'll be very happy to answer all the questions you have. You need a global talent visa, a BELE. You need recommendation references. We write that for you. We do that for those applying for the technician endorsement. Okay. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. I look forward to working with all of you on the 9th of August and have an amazing time. Until we see again in another session, enjoy the weekend and cheers, everyone.